Hey guys, Helen Hartsmith here again from the Heart of the Witch's Path YouTube channel. Hope you're having a good day. I totally am. I'm here because I'm answering another question from another viewer. So this question is from Stephen Kessler, and Stephen recently got engaged. So congratulations, Stephen. And he was asking about pagan hand fasting ideas. And so, I went through my bag of tricks, and because I don't know, I think I've mentioned it before on the channel here. I am a recognized member of clergy here in the state of Michigan, from degrees that I hold from a couple of different organizations. I am working towards being ordained too. That is kind of my end goal, through the Temple of Witchcraft as well. So working on that one, and I can perform weddings, I can perform funerals and things like that. And so I keep some of this kind of information on hand. I've married quite a few couples in my time. And so what I have is I have a basic ceremony that includes the vows, and exchanging of rings. And that's kind of like the bare bones, because I've had some folks that they want no fuss, no muss, short, simple, sweet, and done. And so that's what the basic ceremony is all about. I think that the exchange of vows is an essential part of a ceremony, a wedding ceremony, because what you have essentially in a wedding ceremony is two people coming together and pledging to spend their lives together. And so I think that it's important that they make vows of some kind, whether it's a standard set of vows that your clergy person has established, or if you choose to write your own vows. I think that that's really important. So that's definitely something that you want to include in a wedding ceremony. And call me a traditionalist. I think that an exchange of rings is essential, because a ring, it's not about showing ownership. It's not about the man owning the woman or vice versa or whatever. It is an outward symbol of the vows that you make to each other on your wedding day. And I get that there are folks out there that have jobs where wearing rings isn't necessarily a safe thing or something like that. I get that. You don't have to wear a ring at that point, but I think that you should have something that you wear when you're maybe not at work or something along those lines. So there you have it. There's how I feel about those things. But I also have a list, or I have a document that has what I call extras, that are things that I've compiled throughout my time as performing weddings, that I allow the couple to, go through and, pick and choose. Do you want to include any of these things in your ceremony? So I thought I'd share those things with Stephen and those of you out there. So if you're planning a wedding, then maybe, you'll get some inspiration here. Who knows? I know that in wedding ceremonies for a long time, a unity candle has been kind of really, well, like super popular. And I know that in recent years, there's been a lot of folks that are looking for alternatives for a unity candle for whatever reason. So I know that unity sand is really popular, and I like unity sand. I like it so much that our coven, we actually have a unity sand container that when we have a new member join the coven, we do like colored sands. And so the unity sand and unity candles, again, is about two people coming together and becoming one, essentially becoming a team, becoming a pair of people who work together throughout their lives, doing those kinds of things. And so I think the sand, there's some really pretty containers out there too that can kind of make it really fun for the bride and groom. And I especially like it too. I really like Unity sand if the couple that are getting married, if they have kids like from another relationship or whatever, and that they're bringing everybody together so the kids participate too. It makes them a part of the ceremony, and they all have their own colored sand and they all pour it in together into one container, and it shows that you're a family, that you're a cohesive unit, and that you work together and solve problems and you live your lives. And I think that's a beautiful symbol as well that you can have in your wedding ceremony. I know I was trying to find, excuse me, what it was called, but I know that I don't even remember what tribe it was, but there's a Native American custom that has a vase. And one of two things would happen. So it's this vase, this earthen vase that it has, kind of like a bulbous kind of bottom, and then it tapers up and it becomes two openings, okay? And there's usually like a little handle or something like that between them. One of two things would happen. Either during the ceremony, they would each the two that were getting married, they would take a single flower and they would put it into this vase, kind of along the same lines as the unity candle, or they would actually drink from it. And so I was trying to find a reference to that and what it's called, and I couldn't. So if somebody knows that, I can't believe I don't know it, but let me know. I want to say that there might have been a point in time where I had a vase like that. I don't remember, but that's another really kind of nifty idea too. Really anything that takes two and brings it to one, I think that you could incorporate that in your ceremony, depending on how, do you want to be really traditional and use the candles, or do you like the sand, or is the sand too played out for you and you want to try something else? It's kind of up to you. Another thing that I have is what's called a rose ceremony. And so what this ceremony talks about is the couple setting aside a spot in their house for roses. And for the purpose of, if the two of you are going through a rocky point in your marriage, and maybe you're not listening to each other, maybe you're arguing a lot, maybe the communication lines have like really broken down, there's a spot in the house for roses. And so when one of the people in this marriage put roses, whether it be a bouquet or a single one or whatever, in this spot, then it's a symbol that is a reminder that I love you. Whatever's happening, can we kind of take it back to zero and talk about it and things like that. And so I think it's a really beautiful idea. Instead of letting things escalate, and instead of letting bad feelings grow and fester and become something that you can't fix, having a spot for a simple symbol to remind you of your love for each other, and let's kind of reset this and work it out. I really like that. I think that's really beautiful. Another thing that I have is a Celtic wedding bow. So I have a standard wedding bow that's pretty modern in its phrasing and things like that. That's part of my ceremony. But especially if the couple is pagan, they might be looking, especially if they're involved with or working with the Celtic pantheon, they might look at something like this. The wording is, it's a little older world in tone. And I really like it too, because I'm a big proponent of these two people coming together as equals. Whether it's a man and a woman, or two men or two women, you're coming together as equals to vow to be in this relationship together. Nobody is more important than the other. I actually make it a point in my ceremony that I say that the bride is not given away because she's not property. She is her own sentient being. And so I ask, instead of saying who gives the bride away, I ask, oh gosh, how do I phrase it? Who stands with this woman as she takes this step, kind of a thing. I think that that's really important, and being equals is a big part of this Celtic wedding vow. So that's something that you can opt to swap out. There's also something called the Bell of Truce, and it's an Irish custom that you ring a bell as a reminder of your vows. And I've only had one couple that have chosen to use that particular little ceremony in their wedding. And I gifted them, as part of their, ceremony, I gifted them with their bell. And they were very much kind of a traditional, Celtic kind of couple. I want to say that they probably used the Celtic wedding vow, and things like that. And we actually did do the hand fast for them too. So the hand fast that I used, I've seen, so the hand fast is a very traditional old world thing where couples would come together and they would agree to be married for a year and a day, and they would have their hands tied together, and that's where the hand fast term comes from. And I've seen that done, the actual like rope or whatever. I've seen it done in a number of different ways, but how I choose to do it for my couples, if they want that in their ceremony, is I will create this cord of braided ribbons. I have 13 colored ribbons, and each color has a specific meaning. And so I will have, I'll braid it together, and I make it quite long because you want to wrap it around their joined hands and tie it. And so I do that and then say a blessing over their joined hands, and very traditional. I've seen some other folks do it with like a wide stole type thing and stuff like that. The ribbon is what I do. There was a couple that I married them that they each had children from a previous relationship. And so what the bride did is she went out and found hanging charms in each of their initials. And so the bride and the groom, their initials were like more in the center of the rope, and then there was initials for each of the children as it worked out. And so I thought that was really cool. And again, there's another tangible symbol of your vows and of your wedding that you can put with your wedding pictures and things like that. And I really like the hand fast portion. I think that's a really neat thing to have. There's another this one is really good too. Blessing of hands. And this, it's almost geared a little bit towards a couple that don't have kids. But I have had, the first couple that I married, they opted to use this, and they already had a child. So I rephrased it a little bit and stuff like that. But what you do is, you take turns, and for instance, say it's a man and a woman that are getting married. The bride will hold the groom's hands, and I talk about how these are the hands that are going to comfort you. These are the hands that are going to help you raise your children, and different things like that. And then the groom will hold the bride's hands, and I will say, these are the hands that will care for your children. These are the hands that will, cook for you, or, different things like that. It's a really beautiful bit of ceremony that I really think is kind of cool. Another thing that I have is what's called a wreath ceremony. And so the aim here is really kind of, it's a crowd participation. And none of my couples have done this, but I still think it's a neat thing to consider. And, you know, you might even come up with a different option. But the idea is that you have a wreath, and there are, you have your maybe close friends and family, close family members participate in, say you have like a grapevine wreath, and different folks will come and put different sprigs of things like ivy, and things like that, plants and symbols. You know, it can be whatever you want, but for a specific purpose, for strength in a marriage, for communication, you know, for different things like that. And so the idea is that you create this decorative wreath that, again, you display in your home as a symbol of your vows, your wedding, and things like that. And so I like those tangible things because we're such a disposable society. Divorce is such an easy thing to obtain anymore. And so I think that the more reminders that we have about the vows that we make and how we work towards resolving issues instead of just walking away, I think that's important. Because vows are like a promise, and who wants to break their promise? Just a thought. There's another thing too. I've never used it, but jumping the broom is a really popular African American tradition. And it also has some neo-pagan roots as well. I've never used it, but I thought that it was valuable enough to kind of include in this video. And, you know, if it's something that you're interested in, you can do some more research on it. So those are the types of things that I have for my ceremonies. And now that is just things that I can facilitate. Other things for you to think about when planning a wedding is, you know, if you have someone that's close to you that is a singer, perhaps they want to sing your song or some inspiring song. If you have a poem or a prayer or something like that, that you would like a family member or close friend or member of your wedding party to recite. That's another, I've had that happen too with ceremonies. In the end, I think it's really important that your day is a symbol of who you are as a couple. And so I think that at the end of the day, the most important thing is that both of you are participating in the planning of things and at least having a say. You know, there are some folks out there that maybe don't have an inclination for planning things, but I think you at least need to show an interest and at least, you know, say, okay, I really don't like pink flowers, or okay, I really don't want doves, or, you know, whatever. So, you know, that you're doing this as a team. That's the biggest part. So, all right, Stephen, I hope this is helpful. And I guess I should say too, if anyone out there is interested in me sharing with you any or all of these little extras that I've talked about, I'm more than happy to share them with you. So email me at heartofthewitchespath@yahoo.com, and I'd gladly send you any or all of my extras so you can take a look and feel free to use them for your big day, or use them if you're a member of clergy and are looking for some things like that to use in your future ceremonies and stuff. So I think that's going to be it for this video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't done so already, oh my gosh, have you subscribed to the channel? Because you should. Or not. I mean, it's just nice if you do. Comment below if you have some things that I haven't thought of. I'm definitely always open to new things to offer to folks. And what else? Check out the Instagram at Heart of the Witch's Path, and check out the Facebook page. There's links down below for all of this stuff. So that's going to be it for this video. Thanks for watching, and thanks for walking the path for a little while with me. Until next time, blessed be.